out there in space somewhere. You good, Rick? Everybody good? Okay. Good evening. It's time to call the January 24th, 2023 Warwick County Board of Education meeting to order. First order of business is our Pledge of Allegiance, and this evening I'm going to ask Mrs. Cummins, you know, if you get an audit report like that, then you have to do the pledge. Okay.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mrs. Cummins. Okay, down to approval of the agenda. Need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Okay, we do have a couple of add-ons or changes or whatever. We have a resignation, and then under employment, we have a name in number 1 and 2. Let's see, get my cold fingers to work here. And then on the second page, under substitute aides, number 10 has been struck. Under new business, a volunteer chaperone, we have 2 names added to the agenda. And then I missed one on the front under routine business. Number 3, the pre-K special needs teacher has been struck. Thank you, Mr. McCown. Has been struck off of the agenda. My hands are cold. It just rolled right out of them. Any questions for Mr. McCown on any of those? No? Okay, so with those changes, we have a motion to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, information. First one is A, the completed audit review of the Warwick County Board of Education, fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022. Mr. McCown.
Okay, in your packet is a letter from Justin Hanna, a coordinator in the Office of School Finance at the West Virginia Department of Education. And in this, it just says that they have reviewed the completion of our audit for the last fiscal year, and reading the next to last paragraph, it says, we have completed our review of the audit report for Warwick County Board of Education for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2022. Either no findings were noted by the auditors or any findings were adequately addressed by the corrective action plan contained within the audit report. Therefore, the audit file for 2022 fiscal year is considered closed. So Mrs. Cummings is going to add more detail to that, but I think to do the job that they have done, and school folks included, to have 0 findings on the audit, because you all have seen the expenditures come through and the basket of purchase orders. The tremendous amount of money flows through not only the school system but the individual schools and sports and clubs, and for them to have 0 findings is quite a fantastic accomplishment. So for you and all of your peeps, I congratulate you.
And principals and
school secretaries in that boat too, because typically we don't have very many findings, but it's not uncommon for a person to make a mistake somewhere and to have an audit finding. So to have 0 is a wonderful accomplishment.
Karen, I can't remember a time that we haven't had at least, a purchase order was tagged wrong or something. I can't remember a time. You would remember that better than me, I'm sure.
For the findings themselves, I mean, what they do, they look at a sampling of all of our records, and then if they find an issue, then they sample even further to see if it's a reoccurring issue. And for us, our systems are being followed. Now, are we 100% perfect? Absolutely not. And if anyone tells you anything otherwise, they're lying to you. But for the most part, you're going to find very few exceptions, if anything, on our procedures. And the ladies all work together well. They're well versed in what the rules and regulations are, and they communicate effectively back and forth amongst the schools and with our offices. And I'm very proud to be able to work with them and all that they accomplish. They do an excellent job and make us all look good on that part of it.
Yes, absolutely.
Just curious, is fundraising or anything like that included in that?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, I just,
Yes,
I
sir.
thought so, but that was
Yes.
going through my mind. It's
Yeah,
amazing
so-
that even that, and then there wasn't
Yeah,
any mistakes.
yeah. So for the school audits, they start with a sample of receipts and expenditures, and then from that, based upon what they choose, if it's a fundraising activity, they go and they look, was it properly executed for permission to hold the fundraiser by the principal? Then from there, at the conclusion of the fundraiser, did they do a profit and loss to make sure? Did they timely deposit their monies? Did they have listings of the names of who they received their monies from? Did the deposit make it to the bank on time? So they have a whole thing of procedures that they actually go through and check on those. So it's quite an accomplishment. So
Yes, it is.
we're very proud to be able to say that we've got a clean report this year.
Were you going to go over the audit with us?
The audit itself is
plan?
basically what I presented
Okay.
to you in September. So the real thick report that's here, that is, I don't remember how many pages it is, but that is the big, thick report that I went over in September with you. And now it's basically just has a few inserts in it as to what they did to review
Yeah,
it.
it's down here on number 4 under an action, so at that time, I'm
Yeah,
sure
that's
you'll
actually
explain.
just to
Okay.
approve the report itself, now that it's actually been audited.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the same report that was approved back in September as our annual report, and now it's being approved as the audited official report for the school system.
Very good. Okay, so I guess then we're at attendance report.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. McCown. Thank you, Mr. Metz. The first thing in regards to the January attendance narrative, we had 69 students who received 5-day unexcused absence letters. On January 12th, 3 truancy conferences took place at Worth County High School, and there was a juvenile truancy petition hearing that took place before Judge Waters on Wednesday, December 7th, and Friday, January 13th. The average attendance by school and district as of January 18th, the primary center was at 90.2, the middle school was at 90%, and the high school was at 88.7, and the average county attendance rate as of January 18th was 89.7. The year-to-date attendance rate by school as of January 18th was 91% at the primary center, 90.1% at the middle school, 88.7 at the high school, and district-wide it was 89.9 as of January 18th. Year-to-date chronically absent, I've been discussing with you at each meeting. The primary center, as of January 18th, the chronic rate was at 30.3% of the students. At the middle school, it was at 36%. And at the high school, it was at 37.5. District-wide, we are at 34.6% as of January 18th, district-wide in regards to chronically absent students. Enrollment, the primary center is at 348, the middle school is at 286, and the high school is at 292 for a total enrollment of 926 as of January 18th. The total enrollment has decreased by 3 students in comparison to December narrative, but the high school enrollment increased by 2 students, the primary center decreased by 1, and the middle school decreased by 4 students in comparison to December narrative. Lastly, the enrollment by grade. Pre-K was at 64, kindergarten was at 50, first grade was at 55, second grade was at 69, third grade was at 57, fourth grade was at 53, fifth grade was at 70, sixth grade was at 75, seventh grade had 71 students, eighth grade was at 70, ninth grade had 76, 10th grade was at 74, 11th grade was at 76, and 12th was at 66. And in regards to the school-based probation officer report, preventive action was made with 37 students identified at risk in a face-to-face contact or at-risk letters. There were 3 truancy conferences I discussed earlier. There are 14 students currently participating in the program, and the school-based probation officer made 107 contacts related to the students in the program during that month. So, anyone have any questions or concerns or something they wanted me to follow up on? Or yeah.
With COVID, we don't really see anymore about numbers. I mean, they're not really as true. Is there any tracking, like I know, like one of my grandsons, they don't go to school in this county, but, his class, he's pre-K, his class 25, but there's 5 out now with COVID. I know from my experience with them, they don't even tell you to go get tested anywhere, How do you go about that far as, the kid has, what's excuse, is that just with the parent itself that they had COVID, or how much effect is that? I see so many percent. Is there any of that tracked anymore?
We don't ignore it by any means, Brent, but I don't think it's as prevalent. So, we make a record of medical excuses, what there are, what they're out for, and parent notes and things like that. But as far as percentage-wise, I haven't delved into it as much this year, Brent, to answer your question.
I just wondered how much that affects their numbers, because I think there's more out there than what we think. And it just, I know the percentages, they don't even track it anymore as far as.
Now,
It's in the paper, but that's not an accurate thing. That's just which ones have been reported. Anymore, very few is reported, actually.
Well, what I can try and do before next meeting, Brent, when I come back in February, I'll look and see and do some research. Now, I'm not saying, like you said, some of them could have slipped through the cracks, but I could go back and see who was off for medical reasons for that and things like that, Brent, possibly, or parent notes that specified as much, if I could do that.
I just was wondering if there was anything that we could do, if somebody, because they're told if they've got symptoms to stay home. And, I'm just curious on anything like that would help us as far as our percentages, not so much the percentages that has it. But.
Right. Well, okay. Well, I don't think that would affect like the percentage. I don't want to say this, Brent. It wouldn't affect the attendance rate, because either they're here or they're not here. But as far as like the unexcused and excused absence, it would have a direct correlation to that. And of course, as we discussed earlier, if they're absent, they're absent. And once they get to 18, it's chronic, even if they have medical excuses. So it's kind of, that's probably why we haven't delved into that as much as we should, probably, Brent. But I can try and do some research maybe before.
It's just, I guess that part you really wouldn't have to. I was just curious if there was any provisions for us for, due to COVID, or if it's,
No, not that I'm aware of. Are you, Mr. McCann? I'm not aware of any provisions.
Since the health department kind of did away with the contact tracing and all of that, they have not been notifying school systems if there's a positive test. So unless the parent just shares that information with the school or turns in a note stating that, we have no way to gather that information but from the parents. So sometimes they'll say and ask, like the situation came up. We did have a student test positive at the primary center, and just checking the protocol, what they do. But if the parent isn't prone to sharing that information, we're not getting a line of communication from the health department anymore about that.
Yeah, the communications has changed extremely
Right,
over the,
right,
yeah,
right.
unfortunately, but yeah. Okay.
I was just curious,
Yeah.
because I know that there's, we tell kids if they have the symptoms, or the parents rather, don't send them.
Right.
And then I know through experience, if you call your own physician, whoever it is, and they say, well, you probably got it, but you don't need to go to the lab. So
Right.
it's not tracked.
Yeah, and it could be understated, I'm sure, Brent, because of what you just said. That's probably the case. I can't prove that, but I assume that's
Well,
going
yeah,
on.
it is.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyone have any questions or concerns? Or okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay, we have no delegations, so we're down to the agenda. Need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of January 10th, 2023.
So move.
Any corrections, comments, concerns on the minutes? Hear none. We have a motion to approve the January 10th, 2023 regular meeting minutes. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, down payment of invoices. Need a motion to approve the payment of invoices in the amount of $241,499.89.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
So for your consideration and approval this evening, we have 4 runs of expenditures. The first on 1/17/2023, totaling $76,844.97. Noteworthy in this run is BizTech for $41,771. This is the camera system that records the special ed room cameras that we've got to have in place. Also, our JPO charges to the West Virginia Court of Appeals for $16,727.51. The next batch of expenditures on 1/18/2023 in the amount of $325.35 is Amazon purchases, mostly classroom supplies. Then on 1/19/2023, totaling $101,270.62. Noteworthy in this run, we have the Advantage Technology system for $29,000. We had a grant that put this into the primary center gym. It's really pretty neat. It turns one wall of the gym into an interactive things for the kids to do physical activities. Pretty neat. If you get an opportunity, step in and they would love to show it to you. Also in that run, we have $32,592 for iPads. We have Murray Sheet Metal for HVAC repairs at the middle school gym area. Finally, a run of expenditures on 1/19/2023 totaling $63,058.95. Noteworthy in this run is Gordon Foods and Harris Oil for diesel fuel. So all of these runs of expenditures total $241,499.89. And Mrs. Cummings is here with the big basket of purchase orders, and we can entertain questions if you have them.
It's not stuck over top of it. Mr. McCown, this is not necessarily about a bill, but did our people put that up, or will somebody come in and put that thing up, or?
I think Casey helped with it.
He assisted, but with the company, the Advantage Technology, part of it was installation. But that was funded through Project Aware. That was with
Yeah.
J.C. Cheeseman.
It's pretty neat. I stood over there, I was there a couple of days ago, well, it was last week, and stood there at the door and watched them forever. It was pretty cool how it worked. Yeah. Big screen, huge screen. the whole side of the wall. But, yeah, pretty neat. Any other questions for Mrs. Cummins or Mr. McCown with the invoices? Okay, hearing none, we have a motion to approve the payment of invoices in the amount of $241,499.89. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we have no budget transfers this month or this meeting, so we're down to budget supplements. I need a motion to approve budget supplements in the amount of $1,877.49. So moved. Mr. McCown.
So for your consideration this evening, we have one budget supplement in the amount of $1,877.49. And this is WVUP grant for middle school physical and nutritional activities.
Yeah, it's for the fifth grade
Drink
placement.
your drink.
Yeah, fifth grade placement of, what do you call them, student teacher that was there?
Yeah. Well, we call them residents now, but they're
Okay.
student teachers.
All right. I'm old schooled on that
Yeah.
language then, I guess.
Me too. Any questions? Okay, hearing none, we have a motion to approve the budget supplements in the amount of $1,877.49. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. A motion to approve the June 30th, 2022 annual financial report and individual school audit report.
So moved.
Mr. McCown?
So it is in your packet, and as Mrs. Cummings said, I think we went through the majority of that information earlier, and now that has been audited and approved. Noteworthy, and this was all in your packet too, but I thought very noteworthy, and I will mention it again, the final page of that report in your packet is a summary page, and it's got summary of individual school findings for the 2021-22 school year, and it's got Wirt Primary Center, Wirt Middle School, Wirt High School, and a list of the findings, which is none. So again, a very complimentary word to Mrs. Cummings and all of her crew and the building principals and secretaries that handle all of those funds.
Anything you wish to add, Karen?
There were no audit adjustments made to any of the numbers that we presented back in September, so that's been a first for a few years, because he always finds something, even if it's $1,000, but he reclassified nothing this year, so that made everything smooth as reported. So it's a very good report, and kudos to everybody for all their hard work, because that is a huge monumental task to accomplish. So, please.
Any questions, comments for Mrs. Cummins or Mr. McCown?
So I will say I have been on the other side of this. I was an auditor who did school audits years ago. And it was, Harrison County and Mon County, and so granted, bigger school systems.
Big schools.
But, we were out at even the smallest schools looking at their receipts and expenses and, all of that kind of stuff. It's unbelievable that now, like you said, it's a sample, but to find nothing is really not common. So that's a huge deal.
So basically, the auditor, of course, you're familiar with audit language. They're basically confirming that the procedures that we have in place are here and are protecting and doing what they are supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
That we've got controls in place to protect, prevent, misappropriations, and to assure everyone that it is getting to where it's supposed to be and getting done the proper way.
Yeah.
And so we're very pleased with that.
I mean, like I said, we didn't always find big things. It's not like you went out and you found embezzlement or fraud with, most of the audits that we did. But you did often find where, if two people were supposed to sign off on something,
Yeah.
it may have only had one signature. the other person swears they looked at it. Well, you don't know. You had 1,000 documents you looked at, and you didn't sign that one. So, there's usually something. And definitely a big commendable accomplishment to get through that like that.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, we have a motion to approve the June 30th, 2022 annual financial report and individual school audit report. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, down to our routine business, personnel. First matter is the resignation. Need a motion to approve the resignation of Amy McPhee, a bus operator effective January 24th, 2023.
So moved. Oh, sorry.
Okay, her letter was in your packet, where she's sending her letter. So, any questions or?
Are we planning on posting that position?
Yes. So if you accept her tendered letter, that position would be posted tomorrow.
And how will we cover it between the time that we accept that letter and we fill in the position?
So anytime that there's a vacancy, the substitutes are called in seniority order, and that call rolls out through a substitute bus driver that's on the sub list. So it'll be filled with the sub.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the resignation of Amy McPhee, bus operator, effective January 24th, 2023. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we're down to employment. Need a motion to approve Amy Bennett, Cook 3, Warwick County Primary Center, Warwick County Middle School, effective January 25th, 2023.
So moved.
Mr. McCown?
So as you recall, this is the vacancy that was created when we had a cook leave and take the aide position that you authorized, and Amy Bennett was the successful bidder for this position. So her application is in your packet.
Any questions? Hear none. We have a motion to approve Amy Bennett, Cook 3, Warwick County Primary Center, Warwick County Middle School, effective January 25th, 2023. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, also Amy Bennett, need a motion to approve Amy Bennett, Cook 3, extended day supper in a sack, effective January 25th, 2023.
So moved.
Mr. McCown?
So with that vacated cook position, along with it was the extra duty that we had for the supper in a sack that some of the cooks had bid on, and that is also filling that vacancy, and Amy is the successful bidder with that as well.
Any questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve Amy Bennett, Cook 3, extended day supper in a sack, effective January 25th, 2023. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, number 3 is struck. And you have the repost.
We've had
so-
no certified bidders on the pre-K special needs, so I believe that posting went back up today.
Okay, the teacher's still in it though, that was.
Yes,
Yeah,
so we
okay.
have not released them yet because we said pending it getting filled or pending the end of the school year. So we have got maybe some folks studying for the praxis for
Okay,
that. So
good.
we potentially will have eventually a successful certified person to fill that. I've got my fingers crossed.
Very good. Okay, we need a motion to approve Danette Harbarger as teacher for the home hospital instruction, homebound, effective immediately.
So moved.
Mr. McCown?
So we did have need of a homebound teacher. So just to refresh your memory, if a student has got a medical condition and they're unable to attend school, a doctor can fill out some paperwork for us to qualify them for homebound instruction. We have that case, and D is the successful bidder on that posting.
Any questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve Danette Harbarger, teacher for home/homebound hospital instruction, homebound, effective immediately. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, substitute aides. If it is okay with the board, I'm going to take 1 through 7 as one motion, unless there is somebody that you would like to pull out and work on separately. More than happy to do that. No? Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve as substitute aides pending the completion of their paperwork, employment paperwork, Samantha Delaney, Kelsey Means, Michaela Props, Amy Bennett, Caitlin Dye, Brandy Shepard, and Misty McCulty. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any questions, comments? Mr. McCowan, anything you want to add to
So
it?
we offered the aid test, and we had a whole bunch of people come take it, so very happy to get additional folks on the
That's okay.
substitute aid list.
That's okay. Any questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve pending completion of employment paperwork, substitute aides, Samantha Delaney, Kelsey Means, Michaela Props, Amy Bennett, Caitlin Dye, Brandy Shepard, and Misty McCulty. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, I need a motion now to approve substitute aides pending completion of the background check. And we have Melissa Francis and Nora Kelly. I don't think there's any on this back sheet, are there?
No.
Okay, one was struck, yeah. Any questions, comments? Mr. McCown?
Just quickly, the one that was struck decided they wanted to get the aid test passed, but wasn't ready to be employed as a substitute aid at this time, and that's just why that one was struck.
Very good. Any questions on the other two? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve substitute aides pending completion of the background check. We have Melissa Francis and Nora Kelly. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, down to new business. Need a motion to approve volunteers and chaperones for 22-23 school year. We have Derek Egbert, Ward County Middle School, and Dakota Richards, Ward County Middle School.
So moved.
Mr. McCowan, anything extra we need to
The
know?
middle school is planning its ski trip, so I imagine that there will be some more of these rolling in imminently for the next board meeting, so.
February 20th, I think.
So, and
Trip.
At 4:45 in the morning.
a fantastic thing, and I will say that if we didn't have folks, and many of them are former students that can ski to go back and help folks, we probably wouldn't be able to do that. So thank you for the folks organizing that, and thank you for the volunteers that help us to make that day happen for kids.
It's a good day. Any questions? Okay, we have a motion to approve volunteer chaperones for 22-23 school year. We have Derek Egbert for Ward County Middle School and Dakota Richards for Ward County Middle School. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we're down to authorizing positions. Need a motion to authorize special education support teacher / coach.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
So as you recall, this is the extra duty that Jackie filled for us after her retirement, helping the middle school special ed teachers with IEPs. And since she left that, I asked you to abolish it. We have made a few changes to this posting to make it open to other special ed teachers, not just someone with an administrative degree that could help, to give other folks an opportunity to pick up that role and do that. So basically the duties are the same. The qualifications, the qualification that it be a school administrator was struck, and we have added experience at the middle school level preferred. That the routine things that they're doing with IEPs is still going to be the same. So since we've made changes to that, and the one we abolished, I'm bringing this back and asking you to authorize this position as written so that we can post it.
Any questions, comments?
If I remember right, the coach part is like a mentor?
So we have a relatively young special ed staff at the middle school, and we've got vacancies that retired teachers are back and filling, and they need some guidance and some oversight and some help in writing and then making sure that those IEPs are followed correctly. So and Jackie did a wonderful job of that in that role, but we need somebody to pick that up because those teachers still need help.
Very good. Okay, so we have a motion to approve the special education support teacher / coach. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, now we're down to needing a motion for after-school tutor / academic support teacher at Warwick County High School. Mr. McCallum.
So this is kind of a revamp of what the old Grad 2020 grant was to help increase the graduation rate at Warwick County High School. So this, and you may, I forget the name of it, it's not Grad 2020, but it's that same grant. That is funded through that grant to fund this position to help work with high school students to increase graduation rate. Asking you to authorize this so that we may post it.
John, they'll do some SAT and that type of prep stuff too, right?
Yes.
Memory summary, right?
Yes.
ACT and SAT prep. Okay. Any questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to authorize the position after-school tutor / academic support teacher at Warwick County High School. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we're down to number 3. We need a motion to change the board meeting date from March 14th, 2023 to March 7th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
So when we selected those dates, I didn't catch it, but the regularly scheduled 14th date falls within the break that we are off for scheduled spring break. So sometimes we have folks traveling or doing various things with that. I'm asking the board to get, and fishing, maybe fishing. I'm
Not
asking
me,
the
but-
board to consider moving that date from the 14th, the second Tuesday, to the 7th, the first Tuesday.
I'll give you a minute if you need to check your calendars or anything. No. Any questions about that? Will that cause a hardship for anybody? No. Okay, so we have a motion to change the board meeting date from March 14th, 2023 to March 7th, 2023. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we're down to board concerns. We'll start with Mrs. Yoke.
So I just wanted to say we attended the Patch open house the other night. That was a lot of fun. There were, they had the VR goggles there, the new ones and the old ones. Those things they're amazing. There was one, I guess you're in a bowling ball basically, and you roll down the hill and up a ramp and into pins, and I don't know how you could do it without sitting down and possibly not getting sick. But the kids had cooked. They baked cookie bars, and there was a Cahoots game going where you could do trivia that they learned in their cooking classes and just all kinds of stuff. And we had a good time. There were a lot of kids there. It was a lot of fun.
Very
A
good.
lot of parents, actually. It was well attended.
Yeah, like at the middle school, they were talking about trying to get more kids to participate, and it seemed like maybe transportation was an issue. So
Yeah, I could see that.
I think they're trying to look at it and figure out what they can do. But
Well, and I guess they do have time too, like the first half hour after school is for them to work on any assignments or, if they need help with homework and stuff, so there's people there to help them with that, and then they get into their class. So it seemed to be a very worthwhile program. My daughter loved it. She did this last
do you
round.
remember off the top of your head who's running that? Is that Morgan?
Yes.
Morgan Roberts? Maybe not next board meeting because we had your evaluation. But maybe that last one in March, and we can see if Morgan can come and talk to us about it.
Yep, I can do
Maybe
that.
drum up some business for it.
Yeah, they're getting ready to start another round, I guess, in February, so.
I know there's more in Morgan, so, you know, if there's
Yep.
several want to come, it'd be great.
Happy to
Okay.
do that.
Mr. Love. Mr. Sherlock.
So, if a lot of talk about House Bill 2003 to help improve some of the academic scores. If, my concern is if this passes, then my understanding is we will be able to have more personnel in the classroom. And if that's the case and it goes statewide, then there may be a demand, more of a demand than there are individuals to fill it. So my concern is, do we have a plan, if it goes through, to try to get individuals, because I believe there might be a competition for those personnel.
I am not familiar with the details of that bill. I'll have to bone up on that, and I can,
Is
Yeah,
that the
there's
one
a
with
companion.
aides?
Say,
Is that the one to put aides and all that?
Yeah, assistant teachers and first, and there's a
In the lower
companion
level.
Senate bill too.
Yeah,
And the House bill does it all at once, has like a $100 million price tag. And then the Senate companion bill, which passed made it into committee in the Senate, theirs starts at first grade. Then next year brings in second grade. And
Okay.
next year,
That's
it has
the
the
one I
same,
saw.
it has the
Okay.
same price tag,
but
but,
spread out.
but they're spread out.
so I will speak briefly to that, in that we're ahead of the game, and that we judiciously used our ESSER funds to already put aides in first grade. So those people are there. We already have the first grade positions filled. So we would be ahead. So to somebody that didn't spend their money on that, we've already got every first grade with an aide in there. So we would have to, if it passes and we have to put it in second grade, we'll already be ahead of other folks that didn't spend their ESSER money that way.
So and then again, if it passes and we already have an aid, would that mean we would be able to get an additional aid? And if that's available, would that be a benefit to us?
So I think what would happen, my understanding from, and again, I just have a working knowledge of some of this. I don't want to come off as being fully knowledgeable on those. But my understanding is it would change the funding formula to include funding for that first grade position. So that I don't know that it's going to fund 2 aides in there, but what we could do, instead of that funding coming from our ESSER, which is geared to run out at the end of next year, we could change that funding source from ESSER funds to the regular funding formula that's going to account for that. And we'd simply have to post and hire aides for second grade. And I'm thrilled that we just put a whole bunch of folks on the substitute aide list here. That makes me a little bit more confident that if we do post those aide positions, that we'll be able to fill them.
I've seen that, and I thought, well, I know where all those people come from. 'Cause
We
Like the
had,
state said it's
it
gonna
started
hire-
out just a couple needing to take the A test, and I'm not sure where all those folks came out of the
That's
woodwork.
okay.
But that's okay.
If the Senate bill, when they go into conferee, something's going to happen. I mean, I think the feeling's there that something's going to happen. But if they go and they decide to go with that Senate side of it, what'll happen then is that we'll get money for first grade. The money we're using for first grade could be shifted to second grade. By the time that runs out, it'll be the next year, so second grade will come in, and then we'll have to worry about the third grade. So, it could work out. I'd like to see it all at once, but I'm not, we just
But
have
I
to
have
wait and
heard
see.
nothing but good reports from the work that the first grade aides are doing in there. I think it's making a difference. I think that it's been a good thing. I hope this passes and we get funded for it. We've got enough money squirreled away with our ESSER funds. We put them in there and they're there this year. We've got enough money squirreled away to keep them there next year. So I'm hopeful that it passes and we can continue on with that.
I cut you off, Brent. I'm
So
sorry.
that's all right. I just seen, I don't know which bill, which one, house it come from, but they was proposing 2,500 employees. So I don't know how they come up with 2,500, but that's why when I seen when I was going through the agenda that all these people as substitute aides, they probably read the same thing I am.
Yeah.
So.
Anything else, Michelle?
No.
Mr. Stewart?
I've been asked, and I really not sure myself, so I'm going to bring this toward John. Do we have any type of drug abuse prevention education for the kids in the school? And what are we doing?
So I know that Project Aware has done some of that. I know that they had a guest speaker that touched on some of that. And I know that the health content standards that the health teachers teach covers various dangerous activities, including drug use. I might tag in JC to come and speak to that a little bit more. I know that is something that Project Aware has worked on. And I will tell you, I had a superintendent's meeting Friday, and it's going to be something that I bring to the board to share with you, that the governor has tag teamed with this nonprofit called Game Changers. And they have put together a very nice video that I will bring to the board and share. It's probably, I don't believe that it's longer than 15 minutes, but basically it talks about the fentanyl problem that West Virginia has, and specifically that the drug dealers are using equipment to make fake prescription pills that contain fentanyl that look exactly like the prescription pill that you would get from your pharmacy. So that you've got a kid that they think they might be taking a Xanax, or a big thing is Adderall. If somebody needs to stay awake and study for a test, contraband or black market Adderall is floating around out there. And this kid gets what they think is a legitimate prescription pill that came from a doctor someplace, but really it's fentanyl. And the tagline of this awareness campaign is "One pill can kill." And you may have seen billboards on the interstate. They're putting those things up. But we're going to be doing more. We're going to take part in that campaign. And I will share that with you probably the next board meeting. And we need to make, as a parent, I want to know that, and I want to have conversation with my children that never before have we had an issue with a drug that potentially, if I pick it up and touch it, I can die right then and there.
Or money.
And so I'll share with you one sobering thought that I had. They had a panel of kids on here, and they gave them a sugar packet and a paper plate, and they said, sprinkle how much sugar on here do you think is a fatal dose of fentanyl? And the kids put various amounts on there, but the answer to it was 14 specks of sugar. And you imagine how small a quantity 14 specks of sugar is. that amount of fentanyl is fatal. And you've got nefarious drug dealers that want to make money. They don't care if they kill you or not. And they probably don't have a chemistry degree, would be my guess. So they're putting who knows how much in these pills that look like legitimate pills, or lacing other drugs with that. So that was good information shared with me. I plan to bring it to you at a subsequent board meeting, and we will make every effort to make students, staff, and parents aware of this issue. And I can speak to Mrs. Cheeseman and see what other drug awareness things that we have planned for students and staff.
One of the things that was brought up is the speakers you have, are they basically abstinence, or do you ever have somebody to come in that has been, you know, a drug addict but has been cured, and then actually speaks to people, this is how it is? Do you ever have anybody?
I will have to gather information and see what her subsequent plans for that are.
But that's, you know, their interest was in that also, because, you know, you can always say we don't want to do that, but if we had somebody saying, I've been there, I've done that, this is what
So
happened.
I will share with you the video that I talked about, had an interview in it with a lady who was a drug dealer and is now serving out her sentence in prison. So that kind of checks that box.
Right.
But I will speak with Mrs. Cheeseman and see what direction things are going with that. But the epidemic is here, and it's doing nothing but getting worse all of the time. And I will tell you that I grew up in a rural county and spent most of my career here in this county, and I always imagined that this is a problem that happened someplace else. But when I was working for Wood County Schools, the safety coordinator had a gentleman that worked for the DEA come in and speak, and he was an expert on drug dealers and all of that. And he said that this is becoming an epidemic in West Virginia because we have limited law enforcement. Every county does not have a state police barracks. Okay? Rural counties have limited sheriff and deputy staffs. And these drug dealers are smart. They're looking at rural areas with limited law enforcement, and that's where they're going to set up shop. And it speaks, that video speaks to that too, but it's definitely a problem. It's definitely all over the country and West Virginia, and we need to make parents aware of the danger.
Do we ever have, I know years ago possibly, you had dogs, you know, come in to inspect. Do we ever have that?
I don't know that we've had that in the time that I've been here, but before I was superintendent in my time here, the drug dogs came through. I can see that would be a state police question, I believe, but I can ask.
Yeah, you know, I think that could be, if there was a worry that, you know, I might get caught with it, those people that are pushing it.
Absolutely. I will see what we need to do to make that happen.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I think that probably will answer the questions that I was asking.
I remember when we used to have the drug dogs come in, state police would bring them in, but it might not be the same now. It used to be that you had to go through the sheriff's office. State police would not bring them in the county unless the sheriff was okay with it. So, you know, it was never a problem, but they would go up, they would stop at the top of Elizabeth Hill and get the dogs, give them drinks, get them ready to go. And the sheriff would meet them and stuff. And I'm telling you, there wasn't a time, I don't believe, that we didn't hear, because our deal was we didn't want to know. You come in, you don't tell us, you come in. okay? But we would know because people would see them on top of the hill going through and start making telephone calls, and people would know they were on their way. But, yeah, it's because we ran teachers' cars, same as we ran student cars, you know, everybody, they came through the board office, yeah. So, okay. So Mr. McCown will get that stuff for you. Okay, John, next meeting, if we're still on, we're going to do your evaluation. So we'll need an action item on the board for your evaluation. And then we also will need an action item on the agenda for your contract, 2 separate action items, okay? One for the evaluation and one for the contract, because although they're done sort of at the same time, they really are separate entities. And then we'll go from there. Anything that you would like to provide us beforehand, you can send out the packet.
Okay.
And so we can look at it. And same thing with your contract. You don't have to send that out to the board members, but be thinking about what you are looking at as far as contract.
Okay.
Okay? And we'll do that next board meeting. Anything else for the good?
I have one thing, just a quick update. After speaking with Bowles and Rice about our juvenile probation officer, I have to get additional information from Brim and whomever the Supreme Court of Appeals is using for their insurance company. So I wanted to tell you, I haven't forgotten about that, but the short answer is it's complicated. So I look to have that information to you as soon as possible.
And I had third grade bill down too, so, but we already discussed it, so we're in good shape there. Okay, and nothing else for the good. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. We